the Epstein files. And the FBI have come out and said there's nothing to see here. There is no list. So you think they're doing it to protect Donald Trump?
I don't know. I don't want to be that guy. I'm not privy enough to the information. So I'm not saying Trump is implicated or not. Elon Musk said he was implicated.
I'm Joanna Coles, Chief Content Officer of The Daily Beast. This is The Daily Beast podcast, and I hope you had a good July the 4th weekend, if you can even still remember it, amid all the news. I, of course, am British, so I think nothing of import happened this weekend, but Anthony Scaramucci begs to differ. He spent the weekend tweeting or Xing up a storm and retweeting or re-Xing Elon Musk's posts about the America Party. And Anthony said, I would like to meet to discuss. My DMs are open. So Elon DM Anthony. Also, the FBI's statement that there was no Jeffrey Epstein client list and he definitely committed suicide. So put all your conspiracy theories to one side. But Anthony also gets into that and why it so gets under Donald Trump's skin. So no time to waste. Let's get into it. Anthony Scaramucci, you have had a very busy weekend tweeting up a storm. What excites you about the America Party?
Well, listen, I've maintained that. I mean, the system is clearly broken. I mean, this big, beautiful spending bill is a disaster for the country. It's going to add a tremendous amount of deficit spending. It's taking people off of Medicaid and hurting a lot of people. I have friends of mine, unfortunately, that grew up in a blue-collar area that are off of Obamacare now as a result of it.
Are they off it already?
No. They're going to have these benefits until
after the midterms, right?
Yeah, until after the midterms, but they have to prepare themselves now for what's about to happen. And listen, I think the system is broken. They have a horrible rating. They have a horrible approval rating. So think about the Congress. Congress has a 15% approval rating with the American people. It's like slightly above the North Korean dictator in terms of what the approval rating is.
Right.
You know that, and I know that, and so.
No, I didn't think anyone was allowed to rate the North Korean dictator. How do they even have polls there? Don't we know that he's 99% approval rating?
It's one of my laugh lines, Joanna. Just go with it, Joanna.
It's a very good one. It's a very good one.
All right. I mean, you're breaking my mojo.
I'm sorry. I'm
trying to drop laugh lines on you. I didn't expect journalistic scrutiny of my laugh lines. I don't know if he's got an approval rating or not, but I think the people of America think he sucks, and I think the people of America think their Congress sucks. And so, but yet 15% approval rating, the average incumbent gets reelected 95% of the time. So just imagine you and I, we have a restaurant. I'm the chef. I'm a terrible chef. The Yelp ratings are 1 stars. Yet I never get fired and the restaurant stays open. That's our Congress. So they don't care. Okay. Bloomberg put out an article last week that said if you're below $50,000 a year in income, you're losing about $700 of benefits. If you are making $1 million or more, you're going to pick up about $7,000 in benefits. So this is a regressive thing that's going on. And as Elon Musk pointed out, it's the Porky Pig party. Mm-hmm. And Trump doesn't care. I mean, let's just be clear. He doesn't know what's in the bill. He's admitted that. He does not care. I thought he named it in a very clever way because he's a good brander. It's a big, beautiful bill when it's anything but that. Well, but, Trump wants to go back to grifting and he wants attention. So he's going to put alpha men in the Oval Office nest, and he's going to humiliate them. That's his goal. Okay, so presidents, prime ministers, I got to get back to that. And so let's get the spending bill behind me because I've got 3.5 years left to make $20 to $30 billion. And there's a lot of people left on the world stage that I need to humiliate. So that's his goal.
That's another good laugh line. That's another good laugh line.
But that's what he does. I mean, you know why you're laughing at it? Because it's true. Okay, so that's where we are. They're all afraid of him. I don't understand why they're so afraid of him.
Well,
if you want to talk about the news of the week, I think he's being unfairly blamed for the flood. You can't have that level of rain per minute descend on an area and pretend that there's going to be successful alarm bells going off. It's just, I don't care how much money you give to the federal government or how much money you push into the national weather system. that's now that's a different issue. That's the byproduct of the climate change and what's going on in the society is a totally different issue. But it's not. I don't think you can blame that one on Trump. I mean, I want to call it balls and strikes.
All right. Well, let's just go back to the America Party again. I was going to read one of the posts it put out on its commentary account. MAGA is the past, woke is a distraction, the middle is the future, America Party is the party of the middle majority. What do you think the impact could be of the America Party? And we know that Elon put a poll out there. Many millions of people voted for it. Clearly, people, to your point, are fed up with what's going on. I know that third parties don't have a history here of much success, but it's possible that Elon could change the mold. And the House of Representatives and the Senate are both very close. But he could have an impact here, couldn't he?
Okay, but we have to talk about procedure first. I think this is very important for your viewers and listeners. So in 1992, after they got scared by Ross Perot, winning 19.9% of the vote, they got together and they colluded and strengthened their duopoly. So they allowed for more gerrymandering. They created higher thresholds for petitions and signings. To form a party like this, it is a onerous ordeal. It can't be done in the spirit of democracy. It has to be done in the spirit of procedure and legal work. And so, it probably costs, you could ask Grok or ChatGPT what it would cost, but, I think it's in the tens of millions of dollars. And then you need thousands upon thousands of signatures around the United States to get the party on the ballot. And then, of course, you got to try to get the party on all 50 state ballots. If you remember, Bobby Kennedy was having a hard time getting himself as an independent on all the state ballots, result of which it became an impossibility for him to get enough electoral votes. But Musk has the money.
And also, doesn't he excel at things that other people find really difficult?
They have created a very tight duopoly to the point where they can suck at their jobs and still get reelected 95% of the time. So,
which is exactly the sort of situation that Elon Musk likes to sort of drive right?
How do you break that monopoly? Okay, so how would you break that monopoly? Well, let's say if I had Elon's money, I would go to a couple of my buddies, and I would try to raise $30 billion, and I would have it as a nest egg at the party level. And then I would get some political operators that are in the middle and are frustrated by the system, join forces with them. Then I'd have a convention. And then I would decentralize it. So what you don't want to do is make it the Musk, Larry Ellison party. You want to make it the party of the people. And so you say, look, I'm putting up the money. It's like a charitable grant to save the country. I'm going to have a say, but I'm not going to be the say. And then you decentralize it and you form a convention, and then you put a platform and you put principles together. And so this happened in 1854 with the Republican Party.
Okay, but where did you get the $30 billion figure from?
Well, I think that's what you need. So when I look at the map and I look at what you need in terms of field operation, dedicated offices, political operatives, phone callers, door knockers. If you really want to do this and you create a national party, you're going to need about $30 billion. And remember,
but does it have to be a national party? Why couldn't you just target 20 seats that you thought were vulnerable?
That's why I want to meet with him, because but he's a very ambitious guy, so I'm assuming he wants to do this nationally. If he doesn't want to do it nationally, he could go into 10 states, purplish states, find a few seats, and knock out the red or blue team, and then take over the middle. And then he can blow them up because now they can't get anything done because they've got, America Party people in the House and the Senate that block all of their excesses and block all of their stupidity and have to force the two parties to negotiate with each other, because they're not negotiating with each other anymore. What they do is they show up with their lobbyists and they say, I want this. They say, okay, that's great. You're going to have that. And then the Republican says, I want this. Okay, that's great. You're going to have that. And then they put the whole thing into a food processor, and it comes out with $3 trillion of deficit spending for the next 10 years. And people say, yeah, no problem, because I got everything I wanted, and you got everything you wanted. Murkowski's the best. I love her because she's in Alaska. She votes yes on it, but then she tells people in the House to vote no. She got this obscure thing for the whaling community in Alaska. Right. Which is classic American politics, which is why you don't want to see how the sausage is made, because they're always doing this. But in the old days, you say, okay, here's the plan for the country. Here's what's in the best interest of the country. Everybody's got to give. In the new days, we have no plan for the country. We don't even care about the country because we're going to stay in office no matter what. I just explained to you through the gerrymandering, they're selecting their own voters. I mean, are we in a real democracy, Joanna, where the politician is selecting the voter? I thought the voter was supposed to select the politician. We don't do that anymore. So they're able to control the thing. And so now it's just them and their lobbyists, what's in the best interest of them and their lobbyists. And so when you get out there and actually explain that message to people, if you can get compelling, charismatic people on the world stage to explain that message, you might be able to move a group of people. Remember, the most powerful voting bloc in this country, which is over 100 million people, they vote exactly the same way in every single election. Those are the non-voters. They don't vote. So if you're an entrepreneur, if you can bring those voters into the pool, into the swimming pool with the rest of us, it could be a really exciting story.
What role would you like to have on it?
I just want to understand the strategy. I would like to meet with Elon and his team and understand the strategy and see if I could be helpful. And but you know, he hasn't reached out to me, so I'm not surprised by that. But the other thing is he's working on Grok 4 right now, and I think that's got to be of supreme a priori for him until he can release Grok 4. But I think he picked the 4th of July to announce this and to file for it because he wants people to know that he's in the game. And also, you know, Trump turned on him. The minions inside of Trump went after him. They did to him, frankly, what they did to me. They did it to me in one Scaramucci.
Well, they do it to everybody, right? This is just standard behavior.
It took Elon 12 Scaramucci. Actually, Elon lasted 11.8 Scaramucci's.
Right.
I'm a generous guy, so I like rounding up.
You're 11 days as press secretary, right?
Comms director.
Sorry, comms director. White House comms director.
People confuse that because I did do one of those press conferences.
I still remember it, and it was so much more entertaining than anybody else's. But you were 11 days, right? That's the official Mooch unit of time.
Yeah, I mean, like you could use it in a sentence. Like Liz Truss lasted 4.1 Scaramucci's.
Right.
See what I mean?
Right.
But Elon, I would like to round up for him, so let's give him 12 Scaramucci's. But they eviscerated him. They eviscerated him in 12. And he's pissed about it, but he also knows now what they did to him. Mm-hmm. Okay, and he knows that it was shots coming from inside the Republican Party, shots coming from the Democrats. Some Democrats said to me, you know, we were trying to get to Elon, but they killed him from the inside.
Well, you were the first person that I think said the Democrats should invite Elon back. The moment he left the White House, you said they should have him back. But he clearly wants to cause more complexity for Trump by starting his own party. Do you think he's serious? You mentioned filings, but when we checked this morning, nothing had, as far as I know, yet been filed with the Federal Election Commission.
Well, I mean, let's put it this way. He's put the announcement out there. My guess is you'll see the ensuing filing shortly. My friends that are close to him say he's very serious about this. Mm-hmm. And he's seeing that smaller win that you're suggesting, where you go to 20 states, you pick out a few of these purplish areas, and you get a centrist in those areas to block these two nonsensical parties. But I also see him as very ambitious. I see a potential national footprint for something like this, and they deserve it. They have been absolutely atrocious. This is a political class that has committed malpractice, and mostly baby boomers. I am a baby boomer, so I'm sad about it. But I would say my generation of leaders have been a disaster.
Have they been a disaster? That seems a little unfair.
No, they've been an absolute. Let me give you the metrics, and I'll tell you the disaster. Clinton handled things well with Gingrich. They got to a balanced budget. They were supposed to have a $5 trillion budget surplus ending calendar year 2010. Bush beat Gore, famous Supreme Court case. Bush beat Gore, and he offered a tax cut and then went to war. It's the first time in U.S. history we ever went to war with a tax cut. These were abomination decisions.
Right, that was a catastrophic decision.
And then they gave the TARP money to the bankers. They gave none of it to the little people. So the little people revolted with the Tea Party. They revolted with Occupy Wall Street. All of that morphed into MAGA and Bernie Sanders' group. To use Van Jones, we got a white lash going on now,
right,
because of what Obama did. So Obama's been obliterated by Trump, disaster. Biden, I mean, it was like weekend at Joe Biden's. I mean, the poor son of a bitch. I mean, he had one foot on a banana peel, the other foot in a coffin, the poor son of a bitch. Okay, and now you've got Trump again, and Trump again is back with an angry group of authoritarians that are trying to use Project 2025 to liquidate the two other branches of government. You know, I saw a great bumper sticker over the weekend. We're eating the checks. We're eating the balances. You know, I mean, these guys are nuts.
Yeah, and that was in the Hamptons, I'm assuming, that bumper sticker.
Yeah, they don't like the
home of
system.
The $400 melon and the $100 lobster salad.
Yeah, I mean,
I may point out.
I'm a Long Island blue collar kid. I do have a house in the Hamptons, but I shop at Stop and Shop like everybody else. I don't have a $400 melon in my life. But the point I'm making is that these people have hurt the country. We could have had higher living standards and live longer, life expectancy, all that stuff could have happened. You did not need to spend this level of money. And Musk is correct. A lot of that money goes into a black hole of waste. And so we're in trouble and we need to fix it. You can't do this, Joanna. I'm telling you from economic history, 5,000 years of history, you can't run the budget deficit at an accelerated rate to your economic growth. Can't do that. You'll have a 250% debt to GDP ratio. And then my friend Ray Dalio will be correct. You'll be borrowing money to pay the interest on the money that you borrowed.
Right, which is why the deficit is such a machine.
Set off a spiral that is impossible to stop other than through bankruptcy and restructuring, which will destroy the entire capital market. So you can fix it, and there's ways to fix it, but these jokers, these demo-publicans, these Republicrats, are not going to fix it. They don't want to fix it. They want to, remember what I said. I don't know if I said it on your podcast, but it's worth repeating. My experience in Washington, this is not a swamp. It is a gold-plated hot tub. And you show up at the hot tub, and they look at you and say, can this guy be bought or can't be bought? It's like a binary switch in a computer. And if you can be bought, they hand you 2 Cubanos and 2 bottles of Cristal. They say, get your ass in the hot tub, and let's show you how we're going to screw over the American people. If you cannot be bought, then they run you out of town. And they looked at Elon Musk with his $200 billion and said, well, the guy can't be bought. He doesn't need any more money. And so he's actually, look at him. He's a goofy guy with Asperger's. He's trying to do the right thing. Look, he's doing some stupid things. He cut some aid that's causing deaths in Africa. He's done some stupid things. We've got to be very honest about it. Mm-hmm. But he's not a bad guy because I don't know him personally, but I know so many people around him, and I know what he's done in his company. He's not a bad guy. He's just on the spectrum. So they went after him. They blow him out of the seat. He's inexperienced in politics. I've been there. I have empathy for him. I know the same thing that they did to me. And now he's looking at it, I said, these are really bad guys, and they don't care about the country. They're putting their own interests first and their own stock trading accounts ahead of the country, and actually don't really care about the country. I think the country's grown frustrated, and we may have a shot here if we can put up the money to change it. But I would just say to Musk, you can't do it yourself. You have to decentralize it, because if you decentralize it, like Bitcoin and other things, American government, frankly, was decentralized. You can make it very, very sturdy and get a lot of people to trust it.
Which actually, to be fair to Elon Musk, he's pretty good at doing, certainly in the way that he's been running his companies. I mean, he puts in, for the most part, extremely good managers. So who does it impact the most? Does it impact MAGA the most? Does it impact the Democrats the most, the Republicans?
It's a great question. So again, in my opinion, if it's successful, these are marketing competitions, these campaigns. They're marketing competitions. So if it's successful, they will have to liquidate the extremists in their two parties and come back into the middle and go after the middle again, if it's successful. Well,
does that take out the MAGA wing to some extent?
Yeah, it liquidates it. It liquidates the MAGA wing, but it also liquidates the woke wing. Mm-hmm. You know, Mondami is going to run these guys off the cliff, right?
Zoran Mandami, who's just won the Democratic primary for New York mayor.
He's the socialist leader now of the Democrats, likely to be the mayor of New York City. The signal he's sending, which I see as a noise, but the third party will see it as a signal, they're getting ready to run themselves off the hard left cliff. The country's not hard left. You've lived in this country. You know that I'm right about this. It's just not a hard left country. So Trump is laughing at that. He's like, oh, this is great. Run the clown car like Thelma and Louise off the hard left cliff. Oh, no, by the way, they do that, right? And so you learn that from these guys, that they cancel people. They want to cancel. The hard left wants to cancel the 80 or so million voters that voted for Donald Trump. These guys are a bunch of babies. Rather than going to the 80 or so million voters and saying, okay, you have an honest grievance. What's the grievance? See, AOC is smart. She went to her constituents and said, I noticed you voted for me and you voted for Trump. And they said, we hate the woke shit. And so she dropped the pronoun usages from her Twitter accounts and other social media feeds. She's no dummy. These guys want to take the city to a new low. Okay, they did this in San Francisco. The people left. They were giving apartments away. They hired a new guy that's a moderate. He's trying to clean the city.
Daniel Lurie. He's doing a good job,
Yeah.
I think.
He is. They did this in Chicago. I think the mayor there has a 4% approval rating. That's below Kim Il-jung, the North Korean dictator. And the city's a disaster. So you guys want to run the city into the ground, and you guys do this, Donald Trump will be your president, because the American people don't like it. They don't like it.
Third topic is the Epstein files. And the FBI have come out and said there's nothing to see here. There is no list. There are no videos. Epstein wasn't blackmailing people. And what's fascinating, of course, is that Kash Patel is the head of the FBI. His number two is Dan Bongino, both of whom early on came out and said, there's no question Epstein didn't commit suicide. He was clearly murdered. Now they've changed their position. But what think you on this?
Well, listen, I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, but this doesn't smell right to me. Okay, the whole thing, the tape gets erased, the two guards walk away, and then all of a sudden he commits suicide, but he has to do it in a way where it's a lateral suicide. He can't hang himself. There's nothing to hang on. So he chokes himself at the end of his bed to commit suicide. Okay, all right, I'll buy that. Let's say that that's legit, and the guards disappeared, and there's no tape of the incident. And so let's say he committed suicide, where people who know Jeff Epstein said that he wasn't that kind of a guy. He had a lot of dirt on a lot of people. He probably ready to talk, okay? And then the second thing I would say, I think they're right that there wasn't a client list. I don't think there was a client list. And so I think when they go out to the world and say there's no client list, that's a veracious statement. I think that's correct. However, the question is there a social list and a friend list that Jeff Epstein had where he also had kompromat on those people? Because we do know from the two criminal investigations of Jeff Epstein that he had a lot of tapes. He had a lot of tapes of people doing things on his island and other places where he lived that were nefarious. And so I think it's a parsing of words. If I get to the microphone and say he didn't have a client list, yeah, he wasn't a John. And he wasn't a pimp, and there weren't Johns. No, not that. But he had buddies. Buddies came to parties that he sponsored. He recorded them. And so the pushback from somebody like me would be, okay, I accept he doesn't have a client list, but what about the allegations that were made in the two criminal trials? Are you saying that the allegations made in those two criminal trials are in fact false? Then why did the son of a bitch go to jail? And why did the son of a bitch get re-prosecuted?
So do you know where his money came from?
I don't.
Okay.
I'm assuming it was from the Wexner family. When I was a young guy, I mean, the good news for me is that I was never rich or famous enough to be ensnared by Jeff Epstein. I got sort of more of a high profile later in life after he was already in jail. But he was honey trapping people, which is obvious. And when I was at Goldman, and this is going back into the 90s, I left Goldman in 1996. Jeff Epstein used to trade the currency markets at Goldman. He used to trade the S&P 500 indexes. And who is Jeff Epstein, or Jeffrey Epstein, whatever the hell his name is? And people would say, oh, he is the family office of Les Wexner, the founder of Limited, the big fashion.
And Victoria's Secret.
Yeah, exactly. Victoria's Secret, the big fashion entrepreneur from Columbus, Ohio. That's what we thought of him. It wasn't until like 2010, I guess, when he was arrested, that we were like, oh, okay, we didn't realize that was going on. We thought he was a family office head that was a smart guy running a family office. And then the second arrest is the one where I think the entanglement really started, where people really started to realize that there was a web of people that were associated with him. As an example, Jess Staley, who you know, and I know Jess, and I like Jess. I don't have any problem with Jess, but Jess has just been barred, I think, from the securities or the banking industry in London. He appealed it. He lost the appeal. And what happened? Primarily because of his association with Epstein. So the question is, how many
and
more...
also because he denied having any emails from him, and then it turned out he had 1,200, and he referred to various girls as Snow White.
And you've got the Leon Black situation, and you have other situations like this. And so the question is, not that he have clients, because I get what those guys did. They're trying to shield people who God only knows who's on the list. You know, the Trumpers, you know, you see Trump jamboreeing with the guy at an earlier part in his life, right? So God only knows what the hell they have, and they're trying to bury it. And by the way, they release it on a Sunday over the 4th of July weekend. Come on, guys. They're doing that for a reason.
So you think they're doing it to protect Donald Trump? Because one of the...
I don't know. I don't want to be that guy. Like, oh, they're doing it. You know, I'm not Bongino, where I'm speaking into a microphone declaring that he has a client list and he's a total scumbag, and then I get an important role, and then I declare he's not. I don't know the answer. I'm not privy enough to the information. So I'm not saying Trump is implicated or not. You know, Elon Musk said he was implicated.
And then he deleted that tweet and said he'd gone over the top, right?
Yeah, he did, but I know Vance called him and said, hey, you're making this hard for me. You helped me get this job. You got to delete the tweet.
And then this weekend, he was taunting Donald Trump again with pictures of the Joker saying Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. So he thinks he has some information about him. And clearly they were they were very good friends. Michael Wolff has the tapes of Jeffrey Epstein saying they were best friends. And the weird thing was...
Go to Michael Wolff. Michael Wolff says that Epstein showed him pictures of Trump with young women.
Yeah. He said it on this podcast. Yeah, we've seen...
I watched the podcast. So I don't know what... I don't know the answer, but you're asking me the question, and I'm just telling you that these guys parse their words to make sure they're not lying, because again, I don't think Epstein had an official
client list, right?
No, but I think he had a group of friends that are implicated in some nefarious activity, as evidenced by the guy Leon Black and Jess Staley and others. They were caught in this guy's web.
Yeah, Joe Ito at MIT. It's extraordinary how many people it's felled. The Gates marriage, too.
My grandmother had a great line. We could probably use it. You know, when there's smoke, there's fire, right? You know there's a fire burning somewhere, and those guys are trying to put the fire out, and there's a reason why they're trying to put the fire out. What's the reason? I don't know. You don't know. Maybe Michael Wolff knows.
Yeah, well, we'll ask him next time he's on. And I always thought it was odd that Donald Trump said after Ghislaine Maxwell was arrested, she's a lovely girl, I wish her well. That just felt like a very strange thing to say to someone who'd been arrested for grooming young girls.
Well, I mean, is it strange that he's sitting there with his young daughter saying he wants to have sex with her? He's telling Barbara Walters that? I mean, the guy's a whack jobber. I mean, come on.
He is a whack jobber. He's not a normal president.
I mean, the guy has a screw loose, but he has powerful command of communication. Mm-hmm. He has worked his ass off to build a web of alliances, political alliances. He's raised a ton of money. He's grifted a ton of money. And he is, whether I like it or not, he is the formidable political figure of our time. And so we're a quarter of a century into this century, and he is the prodigious political figure of that first quarter of the 21st century. Whether I like that or I don't like that, that's what it is. And so the question is there somebody going to stop the behavior? Is there a group that's going to coalesce with Elon Musk and come in and stop it? Are the Democrats going to put a national figure together that's going to create a unification of their party to stop it? I don't know. But the good news is the son of a bitch is 79 years old, and he's not going to be able to run for a third term. And that is a personality cult. So when he walks off the stage, J.D. Vance and the other minions, Marco Rubio, which is the total hypocrite that he is, they're not going to be able to manifest the movement that Trump has created. That's for sure. because it's a full-on personality cult. And so then the real fight will start. Where will Musk be in that fight? I don't know. But Musk is a very smart guy, and he's a very resourceful guy. And Musk is an engineer. These guys are not engineers. They're politicians. And politicians don't think the way engineers think. And Musk will be 17 chess moves ahead of them before they get out of bed. And so we'll see what happens. But I'm interested in it because I want to fix it. I'm not interested in where we are right now, where we're fighting with each other and we're running up a $80 trillion deficit. I got young kids. I got 5 kids. I want my 5 kids to be saddled with $80 trillion. What are you guys doing? Cut it out. There's a way to fix it, and you're not fixing it. So let's find some people to come into the mix that can fix it.
Well, I hope Elon Musk responds to your DMs and the two of you get together, and then you can come back on the podcast and tell us what you talked about.
It's a low likelihood that he will, because remember, I have been torched and I've been two-dimensionalized by MAGA, right? Like Fortune magazine just did an article on me.
But so is he. I
know, but what happens is you get the two-dimensionalization in your head of the caricature, So he may not call me, that's fine, but I just love the fact that there was an article written about me in Fortune magazine. The White House responded that nobody cares what Anthony Scaramucci thinks or says. Well, obviously you do, you little son of a bitch. Otherwise you wouldn't be responding to the article.
That sounds very Stephen Chang. I'm surprised he didn't call you a blithering idiot. That's what he calls me.
But I like Stephen. I got along with Stephen. I know Stephen forever. Here's the thing. I have a lot of friends that work for Trump that proverbially and are supposed to hate me, but they don't hate me because they know I'm a good guy. I got Eric Trump coming to my Bitcoin conference. Okay, no problem. He's a Bitcoin entrepreneur.
I want to come to your Bitcoin. When is your Bitcoin conference?
It's August 19th to the 21st. You're welcome to come. You just send me a note.
Okay.
But the point I'm making is I'm a big boy. And as I tell people, there's a blue party and a red party, but there's also an orange party known as Bitcoin. And if Eric wants to come, let him come. I want to fight with people on policy. I don't need to make it a personal grievance. It's not personal.
But the trouble with the Donald Trump, as you say, sort of cult is that none of it's really about policy. It's all about personality, and it's all about personal grievances, right?
Trump told you that when he bombed Iran because he said, hey, the policies are whatever I say they are.
Right.
Are there any principal basis to these policies? No. Whatever I say they are. So that's the definition of a personality cult.
Yep. All right. Well, keep us posted if Elon gets in touch. And I'm fascinated to see what happens with the America Party. I think it'll be very intriguing. Very intriguing.
I like the fact that I like Elon. Elon has a set of balls on him because his attitude, Trump is hitting him, and they took the electric car credit away, and they're the idiots. I mean, you got to think about this. The Chinese are advancing with the batteries and with solar,
right?
And we want to go back to coal. I mean, Trump is the IQ is just ridiculous. But this is, see, what people don't understand, that's a culture war thing, right? Drill, baby, drill. Yeah, let's get out the woke people that don't want the polar bears to drown with the ice cubes. You see what I'm saying?
Yep. It's going back to sort of his happy time, I think, which was sort of, early 80s.
All right, well, listen, always great to talk to you.
And Joanna, you, Anthony. Joanna. And keep us posted if you reach Elon. Well, so much to digest there. Anthony is funny, he's fluent, and he really knows things. So what do you think? Do you think Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide, or do you think he was murdered? I would love to know. Go to our comments and share this podcast with your friends, and feel free to subscribe. And for minute-by-minute, moment-by-moment updates, go to the Daily Beast and subscribe and stay informed. It couldn't be more important. We're independent media and we value you as our readers and our viewers on this podcast. And don't forget, Be Beast. This podcast was produced by our own in-house beasts, Devon Rogerino, Anna von Ursen, and it was edited by Jesse Millward.